Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to use the latest version of my commercial use bingo generator. The generator comes with 5 files for generating the bingo boards and 2 files for generating the calling cards. They all work basically the same. I'm going to show you how the bingo board generator works, and then I'll show you how these ones work as well, but they do work basically the same. I'm going to just show you for the bingo board generators, they all are exactly the same. I'm just going to show you how this one works, and then all of these will work exactly the same as this one. Okay, so I'm going to open this file. And over here, you can see the first thing you're going to need to do is enable the content. So you might have a window that pops up asking if you want to enable content, or you might just have this banner over here. Whichever happens, you need to make sure that you enable the content, because the generator won't work without the macros enabled. So I need to enable the content. And then on this first slide that you have over here, this is where you're going to be putting in all of the content that you're going to be using for your bingo boards. You can choose if you want to put in text content, you can choose if you want to put in pictures, or if you want to put in caption pictures. You can also put in a combination of all the 3 different kinds, or a combination of 2 of them if you want to. So whatever content you want to put in, you're going to put in on this slide over here. You can see over here you've also got a couple of checkboxes. You can choose, because this is the commercial use version of the generator, you can choose if you want to create 1 set of bingo boards, or if you want to create 2 sets of bingo boards, where the first set would be a color set and the second set would be a black and white version of the color boards. Okay, then over here you've got buttons that are there for you to add your pictures, or the pictures for the caption pictures over here. And then over here we've got a button for generating our samples. We're not going to use this until the very end. Once we have added all of our content, that's when we're going to be using this one. Anytime you want to use any checkboxes or click on any buttons, you need to go and use this button over here to start the slideshow, or you can press F5 as well. That will work too. If you want to add text content, you can do it by typing it into this table over here, or you can copy and paste it from Excel or another location if you want to as well. If you want to add pictures, then you're going to be using these buttons over here. If you're adding pictures, if you're only doing 1 set of bingo boards, then you need to use the set 1 button. If you're doing 2 sets of bingo boards, if you're doing color and black and white, then you'll use the set 1 button for the color pictures and the set 2 button for the black and white pictures. And the same thing applies for if you're doing caption pictures as well. So I'm going to start off by just showing you an example where I'll be doing text. If you want to add text content, you're going to do it by adding it to this table over here. You can either type it directly into the table, or you can copy and paste it from Excel or another location if that's where you have it. I'm just going to quickly add the numbers from 1 to 100. The table comes automatically with 100 rows or 100 cells. If you want, you can actually have more than that. So if you need to add more rows to add more content, then you can do that. There isn't really a limit to how many rows you can have or how many content items you can have with this generator. So I'm just going to use my add-in quickly over here to add the numbers from 1 to 100. And so now when I generate my bingo boards, those are the text items that will be used. Okay, once I've done that, I'm not going to yet do the pictures and the caption pictures. I'll still show that to you. So once I've got all the text that I want to, and in this case, I'm only doing text content. I'm now going to go and I'm going to start my slideshow so that I can generate my samples. Okay, so I'm going to go start my slideshow. And now I'm going to choose if I want to make 1 set of bingo boards, I click on there. If I want to make 2 sets of bingo boards, I will click on there. So whichever one I want to do, I will click on that. When you're doing only text, you don't have to do anything special except for choosing this. If you're doing pictures and you choose 2 sets, you have to have put in 2 sets of pictures. And same thing with the caption pictures. But when you're doing text, you're only going to be putting in 1 set of text. So you would need to indicate with the 1 set or the 2 sets over here if you're wanting to do 2 sets. Okay, so now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on Generate Samples. And now you can see it's creating these slides over here. On the first slide, this is where it has created the samples for my color that would be used in my color bingo boards. And on the second slide, these are the ones that we used in my black and white bingo boards. What you can do now is you can go and format the content if you want to, the sample squares. And to do that, if you want to format all of them in the same way as each other, so you can just go and press on Control A, or on a Mac it would be Command A. And you can go and you can change the font, so you can change this to whatever you want it to be. You can change the color and so on like that. Okay. With the black and white, you can do the same thing. You can also go and change the font if you want to, like that. You can do whatever you want to the formatting. You can change the size of the font and so on. So you can make it bigger, smaller, whatever you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to do all of that for this one as well. I think that was 44, and this is also 44. Okay, so now they're the same except for the color of the fonts. Okay. Once you're happy with the formatting of your sample squares, you can go over here and you can choose a design that you want to have for your bingo boards. There are a number of designs that you can choose between. So I've got over here a home tab, and in the home tab you've got the layout button. Now this allows, I've put in here a number of designs for you to use. So you can choose whichever design you want to out of the ones that I've provided. So I've provided, there are 3 basic design options. And then there are different color options and variations of those designs. Okay, so over here, I am going to choose, oh, and also you've got the stars with the cutesy sort of happy face, and then you've got plain stars as well. So if you've got older students that you're doing this for, and you don't want the cutesy look, then you can just use the plain star option as well. So there's that as well. And then over here, I'm just going to go and choose the matching design for the black and white one as well, so that would be this one over there. So now I've got the 2 designs that I've chosen. So you can choose any of the designs that you want to from what is provided over here. Once you've chosen your designs and you're happy with the formatting of your sample squares, you can go over here and you can start to generate your boards. You can fill in the number of boards that you want to create. The default is 30, but you can change it. You can change it to whatever number you want to, but just be aware, the higher the number, the longer it's going to take to generate the boards. Also, what I have noticed when I was testing this on a Mac is when I had the number too high, it actually crashed. So then I had to just restart, and it wasn't able to do it when I was using a number higher than 50. So what I would recommend is you can try, if you want to do it with a higher number, then you can do that. But if it doesn't work, if it crashes, then what I would recommend is doing it in smaller batches and just generating a few and then copying them into another presentation, undoing, and then generating a few again and copying them into the other presentation so that you can get them all together. It might actually even be quicker that way, because as you're doing more and more and more and more, it gets exponentially slower, because as it's adding more and more slides to your presentation, the presentation takes longer for it. It takes longer for it to be able to work with all of those slides in the presentation. So everything is just slower. So what I would recommend is, if you are wanting to do a large number of bingo boards, is that you do them in batches, because it'll actually probably go quicker than if you are doing it, trying to do it all in one go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, once you have decided how many you're going to do, you can then go and start your slideshow just like we did before. So I'm going to click on the button over here, and I'm going to click on the button to generate the bingo boards. And now you can see that it is doing stuff. So what it first did is it saved everything in the state that it was in before I started generating the bingo boards. So it saved it with all the content that I had added, and then it went and generated the bingo boards. Now you can see over here, I've got all the bingo boards that have been generated using all the content that I added. There are my color ones, and then I've got my black and white ones as well. So this is the first black and white one, and you can see that the content matches the content of the first color one. So the 2 sets, the black and white and the color sets, are the same as each other in their content, but they are just black and white and color versions of each other. Okay, and that is how you use the generator like that. Now I'm just going to undo, and it will undo everything it just did. And now I'm going to go and show you the other types of content that you can do. Now, what you can do is, if you realize that there's a mistake, you can just go and add or change the content that you made a mistake with. In this case, I'm just going to go and delete that content quickly because I don't want that anymore. And I'm going to go and I'm going to add picture content instead. So I'm just going to go over here and click on the set 1 button. I'm going to be doing 2 sets again. So I'm going to click on the set 1 button. This is going to be for me to add my color pictures. So I'm going to go over here and insert all my color pictures. and it automatically puts them all in this table over here. So you don't have to position them or anything. It puts them there for you. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to add my black and white pictures as well. So I'm going to go and start the slideshow again and click on the Set To button to go and insert my black and white pictures. So over here, I'm going to select all of those and insert. And now you can see that they should all be put in the same order if they were in the same order in the two folders. But if they're not in the same order for some reason, so if for some reason these two were the other way around, like that, you can go and rearrange them so they're in matching order in terms of the sets like this. So you can go and you can check that all of the pictures do match each other, and if they don't, you can rearrange them so that they do, okay? Because the generator is going to use whatever is in each cell, whatever is in the two matching cells, and assume that those are matching each other. So whatever you have here and whatever you have here, it's going to take as a matching pair. Okay, so that's for inserting your pictures. Once you've inserted your pictures, you can then go and you can generate your samples again, just like we did for the text ones. So I go over here, click on Generate Samples, and it's going to create my samples, just like it did for the text ones. But now, in this case, I now have pictures in my sample squares, like that and like that. And there's nothing really to format here because I don't have any text. Once I'm happy with my sample squares, once again, I can go and choose my designs. So you can choose whatever design you want. Again, if in this case, I want to use this design over here, and I want to use the matching one over here, then that's what I've got for my designs. And now I'm going to go and generate my boards again. And now when I generate my boards, again, it saved it with all the content that it had before starting to create the boards. And now you can see it, I've got the boards over here using the design that I chose. Okay, and once again, my boards have been created so in color and in black and white. So over here, I've got the black and white ones as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go and undo. And now I'm going to show you the caption picture option. So first I'm just going to go and delete all of those pictures because I don't want to work with the pictures at the moment. I'm just showing you the caption pictures. So you can do it with just text, you can do it with just pictures, or you can do it with just caption pictures as well if you want to. So with the caption pictures, you've got an extra option over here. So I'm going to quickly go, and you can see over here, I can choose to autofill the captions using the file names, or I can choose not to. So if your file names of your pictures are the same as what you would want the captions to be, you can just click on here. It will automatically fill those in for you. You won't need to then type them in. You might want to go and check that you're happy with all of them in case there's anything missing or any extra characters you need to add in anywhere, but most of the work will be done for you. If the file names are completely different to what you would want for the captions, then you can deselect this and you can go and type in the captions yourself. Okay, so I'm going to have it selected. I'm going to go and click on Set 1 so I can insert my pictures. Start off with the color because it's Set 1. Select all of those and I'm going to insert them. And now you can see over here, it's inserted them and it has automatically added all of the file names that I had for those pictures. Now I'm also going to go and insert my black and white ones as well for Set 2. Actually, I'm not going to. Actually, I'm going to do only one set this time. So before I show you though, I'm going to go over here. I'm not going to change this to Set 1. If I click on here, you'll see that it's going to give me an error. And it's going to tell me that there's a problem because I don't have enough of the Set 2 pictures because I've indicated that I want to have 2 sets. Okay, so if you do accidentally do that, it's going to tell you that and you're going to need to make a change. Either adding in the Set 2 pictures or changing this to Set 1 to 1 set only. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to choose 1 set only. And now I'm going to go and generate my samples. And so when I only choose 1 set of bingo boards, it's only going to create 1 slide with samples. And you can see over here, there's also only 1 slide with a design that I need to choose because I'm only making 1 set. Okay, so if I look at my samples over here, you can see that you've got your pictures. So if I zoom in on one of them, I've got the picture and I've got underneath it the file name, which is the caption. Now you can, just like you could with the text, you can go and change the formatting. So if you want to change the formatting of all of them together, you can press Ctrl A or Command A, and you can go and change the font, so I can change that to whatever I want it to be. I can change the size of the font. I can change the color of the font. You can make it all bold if you want to. You can also, if you want the positioning of the font to be slightly different, you can go to Format Picture. So you can right click and click on Format Object and go to the text options and this text box over here. And then you can go and play around with the margins. So if you want the text to be slightly lower down, you can decrease that, say, to 0.1 inches or whatever you want it to be. Okay, so you can also move the text around by playing with the margins like that. Okay, so once you're happy with the formatting of your captions, then you can go and you can change your design again. So I can choose whatever design I want to. So in this case, I'm going to choose that one over there. And then you can go and generate your bingo boards. So make sure that you've got the correct number in there and start the slideshow and click on Generate Bingo Boards. And now it's going to create all of my bingo boards using the caption pictures that I created. So that's what it's going to look like over there. Okay, then, like I said, you can also do a combination. So if you want to, in this, all the examples I've done, I had either text and only text, or I had only pictures, or I had only caption pictures. You can also have a combination. So you can have text. So if you want to have the numbers 1 to 10 or whatever, so I can go over here and I can do that. So I've got the numbers 1 to 9. And you can also insert pictures as well. So I can have over here, I'll insert pictures, say these ones over here. And then over here, I will go and also put in black and white pictures. So I'm going to go and I'm going to make that 2 sets, and I'll put in black and white pictures over here. And those will obviously match the ones that I already did there. And then I'm going to go and put in the black and white versions of all of these. Now, if you've already got captions filled in over here, it's not going to redo the captions. It's going to check and see if there's already text. It's not going to replace the existing captions. So if you have gone through and changed some of the captions or whatever, it's not going to undo your changes that you've done. But also, if you have old text in here from previous, if you are redoing it and you didn't delete the text or something, it's going to keep the text as is already there. So if you wanted to redo the captions using the file names of whatever you're inserting, you need to make sure that these cells over here are blank. Okay, but I'm not going to worry about that because the captions are going to be the same for the black and white versions of these pictures. I'm going to go to set 2 and I'm going to go and insert all of these. So now I've got some numbers and I've got some plain pictures and I've got some caption pictures. So when I go and generate my sample squares, it's going to use everything that I have put in here and it will make sample squares with all of those. So now if you look at this over here, it's taking a little bit of time, and now you can see I've got the numbers that I had, then I've got the plain pictures that I had with no captions, and then I've got all the ones that I have pictures with captions. Okay, so it's the same thing for the black and white as well. So all of them have been created for both the color and the black and white. And then just like I could before, I can go and change my formatting of any text that I want to. And once I'm happy with it and I've chosen my templates, I can go and I can create my bingo boards like I have with all the other examples. So I'm going to go and click on here. Once I've already put in my number of boards that I want, I can click on here and it's going to go and create all of my bingo boards. Just something to be aware of, like I said, before it starts, it's always going to save the file. Now, if you are using big pictures, so in this case, I'm using pretty small pictures, so they don't have big file sizes. If you're using big pictures that are high resolution, it's going to take longer before it actually starts creating the bingo boards because it's going to take a while to actually save the file in the first place. So just be aware of that. If it sits there and you can see it saving for a long time, it's because you're using big pictures which are making the file very big. Okay, so that is what my bingo boards would look like in this case. And you can see that there's a combination. I've got some that have numbers on them, I've got some that have pictures with captions, and some that have just pictures, and in this case there are more pictures with captions because I just had a lot more of those in my content that I had provided. So over here I've got 2 numbers and I've got 1 plain picture and I've got the rest all pictures with captions. It's because there were just more pictures with captions than there were numbers and plain pictures. Okay, and that is how you can use the bingo generator. If you want to go back and make changes, you can just undo and you can go and change the content that you have over here and you can go and recreate. But if you have created it and you're happy with the bingo boards that you got and you just want to change the design, you can also do that without having to recreate the bingo boards. So what you can do is you can go to slide sorter, so there's a button over here, or you can go into view and slide sorter. This just allows you to see them more easily. And you can go and select all the slides that you want to change to a particular design. Go to home, layout, and all of these are still here. You can still choose any of the different designs that you want to, and you can change any selected slides to that design. So over here I can change all of these to a different design as well. So I can change them, say, to this one over here. So then I've got whatever design I want to. So you can go and change the design after creating the bingo boards if you want to. Once you're happy with your design and your bingo boards, you need to go and save your file. Okay, so to save your file, you're going to go and press on File Save As, or you can just press Ctrl-Shift-S. It will bring up the Save As window. Now, when you're saving the file, you don't need to keep the macros enabled because you're no longer going to need the macros. The macros were for you to generate the bingo boards in the first place, but now that they've been created, you don't need the macros anymore. So what you can do is you can go and change this to just PowerPoint presentation, PPTX, and then it will save it without the macros. And I'm just going to change this. I'm going to say demo bingo boards. And now it's going to bring up a window asking if I want to save it without the macros. I'm going to click yes because I don't need the macros anymore. Okay, so now I've got my presentation that has all of the bingo boards in it. I can now go and save it as a PDF or whatever I need to for whatever resource I'm creating. Okay, now if you want to go back and make changes again, so here you can see we have got that file over there. If you want to go back and make changes again to the game, and if you discovered there was a problem with some of the content you added, you can go back to the file that you were working in the first place. Now, something I forgot to mention when I started this video is anytime you're going to create a bingo game, I always recommend working on a copy of the original bingo generator file, because if you work on the original, it's going to save over the original file. But if you work on a copy, then you don't have to worry about saving everything. You won't have to end up re-downloading every single time you want to create a bingo game. You won't have to re-download the generator every time. So I always recommend working on a copy. So all of these over here are copies. So this is the one that I was working in before. So if I open it, you can see that it now opens, and you can see it still has all the content that I added, because like I said, it saved automatically when I was creating the bingo boards. It automatically saved the file with all the content that I had added. So here I've got all the content that I added to the file, and it has saved with all of the sample squares and everything. But if I have discovered that there's a problem with any of the content, I can quickly go in and I can make changes. So if I need to change something to the text, or if I need to change something over here, I can do that, and I can just generate the samples again if I want to. If it's not a big change that needs to be made and I've already done formatting changes, you can just change individual squares over here if you want to. So you can change the text to any particular sample square that you need to, and then instead of regenerating the samples, you can just change individual samples that you need to, and then you can go and generate your bingo boards again. So you can go back and do that. And also, like I said earlier, if you're creating a lot of bingo boards and your computer is struggling with doing so many and you're needing to do it in batches, because it saves it like this, you can just come back to this file and you can generate again, and you can keep on generating more batches, and then just take those and copy them into, so I could once I've generated it again, I could go and copy the slides all into this one over here. And I can copy them in and copy them in. And I can end up with 100, if that's how many I needed, by doing it in batches. So that is an option as well. And like I said, it might actually even be quicker to do it that way, because it's able to do smaller numbers much more quickly because the file stays small. Okay, so that's how you use the bingo board generators. Then the calling card generators work basically exactly the same as the bingo board generators. The process you're going to follow is exactly the same. So first I'm going to show you the printable one. So it looks the same. We also need to enable the content, and you can see that you've got all the exact same things over here. You're also going to be adding your text, your pictures, your caption pictures, whatever the content is that you need to add for the calling cards. So if you're using the exact same content for the calling cards as you had for the bingo boards, you could even go to over here. So if I am going to be creating calling cards that have the exact same content as the bingo boards, what I can do is I can go back to this file where I added the content. I can just go and press Ctrl A and select all and copy it, and I can go over here to the calling cards generator, select all, delete those tables that are there, and paste what I just copied, and then all of my content is already in there. Or you can add your content in the same way that we did with the bingo generator. Once you've added your content, you then go and generate your samples, just like we did with the bingo generator. I'm going to click on the slideshow. I'm going to generate my samples, and you can see that it's going to generate the samples in the same way that it did before, but they're going to look a bit different because now it's for calling cards instead of being for the bingo boards, and the calling cards are going to be rectangular like this. So the calling cards, you can see I've got my text ones over there. These are the plain picture ones, and then over here I've got the caption pictures. Now the caption pictures are done with the captions on the left and the pictures on the right like that. Okay, so that's what the sample squares will look like, or the sample calling cards rather will look like when you're doing calling cards like this, and the black and white version as well like that. Just like when you're doing the bingo boards, you can also go and change the formatting and things for any text that you want to, just like we could before. Okay, once you've done that, you also can go and choose from some layout options. So you can choose different colors over here. So if you want to have orange, or if you want to have green, or whatever, you can choose. And so there are different options you can choose from over there as well. So I will just keep that one as it is there. And then you can go and generate your calling cards. Now you see there's no option over here to put in how many you want to create, because obviously the number of calling cards is based on the number of items that you have put in. It's not the same as when you're doing the bingo boards. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to generate my calling cards, and it's going to do the exact same thing as it did before. First, again, it was saving just like it did when I was creating my bingo boards, and then you can see that the calling cards are all added to the slide in tens like this. There are 10 calling cards per slide when you're doing the printable calling cards. Okay, so that's what the calling cards one is for, is to create these calling cards that you can use when actually playing the game. Okay, then the individual calling cards is going to work exactly the same. The only difference, again, you need to enable content. The only difference is that instead of having 10 per slide, you only have 1 per slide. These ones are great for if you're wanting to save each calling card as an image, or if you're wanting to use them in a presentation sort of way where you are displaying them for the class to see. So that's what you can be using these ones for. Okay, but it's going to work exactly the same. You can see that the layout over here just looks a little bit different just to fit them onto the slide, because the slide is a different shape, but all of the options are still the same as what you had in the bingo board generator and in the printable calling card generator. Okay, also if you're using the exact same content for this as well, you can also just press Ctrl A and delete, and you can paste in the content that you had from your bingo board generator or your other calling card generator, and it's going to be slightly over here, it really doesn't actually matter, because it so long as the pictures are in the table. But if you want to, you can go and move that so that it's not going to be going over the slide if that bothers you. So you can go and move it like that, but it's not really necessary. Okay, so once you have done that, you then go and generate your calling card, generate your samples again, just like we did with the other ones, and we can then go and do any formatting that we want to. It's going to look exactly the same as for the printable ones. And over here I've got my black and white ones, and then just like for the printable ones, you can also go and choose your template. All the templates are the same as they are for the printable ones. Obviously you just have 1 per slide instead of 10 per slide. Okay, so if I go and pick that, I'm going to keep that one as it is, and then I'm going to go and generate my calling cards. Again, there's no option here to choose how many, because it is the number of items that I have put in. And I'm going to go and generate those. And now when it creates the calling cards, it's going to create 1 card per slide, and it's going to look like this. Okay, so those are all of the calling cards. It took a while because there were so many to create. And you can see that each of those calling cards is then put onto a separate slide. And you can see them all individually like this as well if you go to the slide sorter view as well. Okay, and that is how you use the commercial version of my bingo generator. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you. Goodbye.